Hello, and yes, I'm back, baby. Oh, yes, it feels so good to be back to another reaction of Avatar The Last Airbender. I was almost saying My Hero Academia, but no, it's not the case, unfortunately. Um, but yes, I am back. My surgery was a success. Obviously, I am still with a strict, very strict diet. I cannot eat a lot of stuff that I enjoy, but obviously, it's understandable. Unfortunately, this diet is going to last at least another month. I think a little bit more than another month. So yeah, still suffering on that side. But other than that, mindful pains here and there, which is obviously expected. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm not still fully recovered, but I still am fine, and fine enough for me to start recording again. Yes, thank you for your patience, guys. I hope you enjoyed my last two videos. Because yeah, last week I wasn't able. I was still kind of in a delicate state, let's say, so I couldn't record, I couldn't edit, I couldn't do a lot of stuff that I'm used to do. But now, yes, it's a lot better. It's a lot better. And yes, some of you might not know, but yes, I just recovered from a surgery. I actually did a video, so yeah, I'm gonna put a link around here. I don't know where. I think it's here. I think YouTube doesn't know it anymore. The stuff in your face and all like that. But anyway, I have to take this opportunity to really say thank you to all of your good wishes for me back then in said video. I'm so grateful to have you as fans, guys. I'm so grateful for your patience, guys. I am so grateful for you guys, because yes, those were terrible moments. I was so nervous while doing that video, because yeah, it is the first time I was going to go to surgery, and it felt awful. But thanks to your wishes, your messages that you leave me in the video, your comments, that really helped me a lot and really brought a smile to my face. So once again, thank you so much for all that, guys. But now that I'm back, now that I'm really back, let's go right into the business. Yes, we now got in the last episode as how Suko is just with them now. And what I mean them is obviously the Avatar group, the Avatar gang. And it's a little bit weird, because obviously I understand both sides. I have that privilege, the perspective of the audience. But I understand their side too, because obviously going from somebody that is hunting you down, trying to capture you, and even at some point really succeed, and even attacking you, and really hurting you or helping into this problem, it's hard for them to understand that, yeah, this guy is now with us and he's not a trap. I understand completely. Obviously, there are different perspectives of the group, and that is something I'm thankful for, because not everybody share the same mind, and that is something that is understandable. And I love the degree of acceptances. I don't know why I cannot speak. I'm gonna blame the surgery, because yeah, that's better than saying I'm a fucking idiot. Anyway, back to the topic. I love how Katara is the most protective of her friends, and I really enjoy that. I understand Katara completely, absolutely completely. But I understand Suko too, so it's an interesting plot that they are setting. And obviously, as I said in my previous videos, the firebender that was going to teach and needed to be plot relevant. It needed to be, because yes, there is so much hype around this element. Anyway, I don't think you're here to hear me talk about something I spoke a ton in my last commentary. So, without further ado, let's cut all of these and watch the episode, shall we? Okay, I'm back. I just watched a second time, and yes, as previous episode, more than 2 times the 13 episode. I love when a show give us a little bit of a lesson in history. I am always fascinated by that. I love when they give you a little bit of backstory of anything and everything, and especially when they dealt with the world that is that the story is taking place. I am always fascinated by that, and this was a great bit. First of all, I am so happy to see kind of the representation of a Mayan civilization or an Aztec civilization, kind of the Central American civilization, because that is what we saw. At the beginning, I perhaps thought, okay, yes, it looks similar from afar, but perhaps it's more similar to a Chinese civilization or something else. But once the Sun Warriors appear, especially the chief of the Sun Warriors appear, it was obvious that this was kind of based on Aztec or Mayan or some kind of South or Central American civilization. And I always am fascinated by that. And it makes sense. Why I say this and why I'm more inclined to say that this is Mayan civilization, thanks to what the Mayans are. Mayans are very kind of solar related, let's say, very close to that. An example is like the Mayan calendar. That obviously said, oh, the world was going to end in 2012, which was obviously bullshit. The Mayans never said that. It was just a calendar that they expect, okay, we have thousands and thousands of years, so we can make the calendar thousands and thousands of years ahead, so we will not do anything until we reach that point, obviously, or unfortunately the civilization was lost in a certain point. At least as far as I know, nobody knows why the Mayan civilization disappear, which is obviously they were located in what is now Yucatan in Mexico, but nobody knows why they disappear. What we know is obviously that, yeah, the Mayan terror that they say is complete and utter bullshit. They never intended to that being the end of the world. That was not the case. Just some wackos that believe that 2012 was real and is the end of civilization, and nothing happened, like fucking always. Okay, moving on, because yes, I'm a little bit salty about that bullshit. Moving on. As I said, I am happy to see that kind of representation in this show. Obviously, I was just expecting the Eastern civilization to be represented here. The Chinese, the Japanese, the Tibetan, all of those civilizations. So it was a pleasant surprise to see an ancient Western civilization to be represented here. Moving on. I love the fact that this lost civilization isn't actually lost. And I understand the reasoning. The modern Fire Nation went down and hunted down the dragons. Obviously, they are the first firebenders. They are the masters of the firebending. And they have respect for them. These Sun Warriors have a lot of respect for this civilization. When they started to see that these Fire Nation benders were trying to destroy the beings that gave them the firebending abilities, they start to say, okay, these are idiots and they will not understand. Unfortunately, we don't have enough resources, enough firepower, enough men to take down all these gigantic nations. So let's just pretend that we are lost. Let's just pretend that we do not exist anymore and separate ourselves. Or if this civilization was lost thousands and thousands of years before they start hunting down the dragons, perhaps they say, okay, we have the dragons. We don't need this Fire Nation. Let's just pretend that we are lost and we go in our separate ways. And obviously the fuel that kept them going was the fact that they are hunting down dragons. So yeah, those are my two theories that I have, that they isolate themselves because perhaps they think they are better than the rest, or perhaps they think that this civilization need to be isolated. And again, it's kind of similar to what happened with the Mayans. So yeah, that's why I am more inclined to say that they are kind of the representative of the Mayan civilization, or are very similar to that. But yes, I like the fact that even they took a step further and they pretend that all these temples and all these places are utterly destroyed. So whenever somebody is in there, they will say, okay, this is a lost civilization, we don't have any hope to find anybody, let's go. Perhaps that is the case. And since the Fire Nation is kind of arrogant from what I have seen in these obviously past episodes, some of them are very arrogant. Say, okay, yes, we don't need their knowledge, we have better knowledge now. The rage that we are feeling is what feeds our firebending. The people to truly understand firebending, truly understand the ability of fire, is obviously something different. And the case in this, the most significant case is Uncle Iroh. Uncle Iroh understood that this title it means nothing. The title of dragon means absolutely nothing. You are just taking life away from this, I'm going to call it Earth. I don't know if this has a name. This planet has a name. But he understood that. And once he was really close to the master, to the dragons, he understood even further that the fire is not fueled by anger. Well, not entirely by anger. It's fueled by your drive, by your emotions, yes. But anger is not the only emotion that you can feel and trying to create fire. There are other emotions, and these two dragons show him and show Suko and Aang the other aspect of fire. That is not anger, that is not only destruction, that fire could bring something else. And this is something that has been explored in the past. When the first fire master that we met in the series, the first outside of Uncle Iroh that we met before, he is not a fulfilled master, let's say, because he still feels ashamed of fire or firebending. He still doesn't understand that the fire is not just destruction, it's creation. It's just like any other element. It could be destructive, it could be constructive, it could be anything. It depends how you use it. It is a fascinating topic to see all these different aspects of firebending. Because again, we have only seen one aspect of said firebending, the destructive side. They are using it to attack other nations, they are using it to destroy other civilizations. Because yes, the ambition of the firebenders that are in power is that they just want to conquer, they just want to take over the world. Meanwhile, a true master of firebending wants to keep the balance. He understands that the fire is not all, fire is not your enemy, fire is not your friend, it's just energy, it's just a neutral point, and the people is that how the people use it is what is considered the dangerous part or the creative part. There is a lot of philosophy behind this episode, and this philosophy is not just spewed out in this episode. It's been carrying on during the entirety of the series. And I said spew out because a lot of other series just do that. They say, okay, they come up with some bullshit philosophy and they tell you in one episode, and the only episode in which is relevant is the one that they told you. That's it. But the Avatar is not. It's not like that. The Avatar is taking it little by little and is building up towards that philosophy. And I love that fact. I love the fact that they give you time to understand the world. And when they build up world, it's just little by little and they don't overwhelm you with bullshit. But they give you little bit of information here and there and over there. It's fascinating, and I love this series for that. Now, moving on to the last part I want to speak about, outside of obviously the philosophy, is the character growth. The character growth of not only Suko, but Aang. Suko obviously is trying to understand why he cannot fire Ben. And yeah, there are funny jokes here and there, and we still see the attitude of Katara towards Suko, which is again is completely understandable. I understand her completely. But this character growth comes that he's not as angry as before. Because anything, yes, obviously, when somebody is annoying you, like the case of Sokka, when he's angry, annoying Suko, yeah, you get angry, but it's a very tame anger. It's not this constant anger that we got Suko, that we know Suko for, that he's constantly angry. But he's more calm, and even the jokes they take at his expense are kind of say, okay, yeah, let them joke. Yes, I will get angry, I will get annoyed, but not just constantly anger and attack and all that. No, it's not like that. It's a very different case. And even when he understood that the drive is not only anger, but only the drive to do something, the will to do something. And the character grew for Aang is that he understood that fire is not just for attacking, it's not just for destruction, it's for creation, it's life, it's give lives. Because yes, without fire you don't have heat and you don't have the warm. Yeah, if we take away the sun from our planet, it's a frozen planet. There will be no life, at least not life as we know of. So there are a lot of stuff that comes from heat, from fire. So we have both characters growing. And I love obviously the shenanigans that we got with them together. Only they together. Nobody else. It's funny to see it now, because at the beginning of the series, how we encounter them both. It is a fascinating episode, it is very interesting, and it gives you a lot to think about, a lot of philosophy that we have been seeing. And obviously Uncle Iroh is showing off even without him being on the screen. That is amazing, yes. Uncle Iroh for the win all the time. All the time. Oh yes, I almost forgot. There is a little detail I want to speak about. I didn't know who was the original Airbenders, which is obviously the Bisons, which is a hell of interesting to see how they learn from the flying Bisons. But there is another aspect, and this is something that I find fascinating by how Toph learned how to earthbend. She didn't learn just as a martial art, just to attack, just to defend. She learned it as a way of life, as a way of moving, as a way of understanding the world. And that's why she is the best earthbender in existence. She is that amazing. I'm willing to bet she is better than Bumi. Bumi might be more experienced, but give it a few years to Toph, and she's going to top anything that Bumi has ever done. That is just what I'm saying, man. That is just what I'm saying. But anyway, yes, I think I exhausted the topic of this episode. A fascinating one, and I cannot wait for the next one. But enough about this. Let me just remind you that if you enjoy the content of the channel, please consider a subscription and turn on notifications so you can get up to date with whatever we're doing with the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up and leave a comment so you know the algorithm of YouTube helped me out a little bit. If you want to follow me on Twitter, the link is in the description below, alongside with my Patreon. Again, there is no obligation for any of you to follow my Patreon, it's just there. Anyway, yes, I have nothing else to say, but thank you for your attention, and well, see you on the next one. Bye! Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed that video, and if you did, give it a like, so the algorithm from YouTube will help me out.
and check my other videos, share them, and also why not subscribe to my channel and join this community. And as always, I want to thank you for your attention, your likes, and even your dislikes, your comments, which is something I always look forward to read. And yeah, once more, thanks and see you on the next one.